Danny, we're all hurting. You're a Chicago kid in New York, 800 miles from home. A number of players couldn't find the right words to explain what happened last night, and I assume you are hurting like every other Bears fan out there today, right?
Yeah, it was a very disappointing ending to an incredibly enjoyable season. So I think the micro hurts because that was a winnable game, and it felt like, you know, a couple of plays away, from the first drive. If Roma Dunze catches that touchdown pass and you go up 7-0, how much does that change the game? If DJ Moore accelerates through that route, what does that change? If the Bears were able to execute in short yardage, they were just 1 of 4, on 4th and 2 or less, which is just terrible. So they had it. The defense was great. Caleb was a miracle worker. And whenever we talk big picture, it's not hard to immediately say that this is an incredibly successful season and the future is very bright. But they easily could have won that game if they just make 1 or 2 more plays that, frankly, we expect them to make at this point.
Yeah, that's for sure. Caleb Williams talked to the media today, Danny. Admitted he still hadn't spoken to DJ Moore about the Bears' final offensive play of the season that resulted in that interception at the very end. Moore got out of the locker room before the media made its way into the locker room after the game. Tell me what you saw on that play.
Well, listen, I think Caleb pretty clearly is being a great leader there. He just keeps saying it's a miscommunication. If it was on Caleb, Caleb would say that it was on him. That was on DJ Moore. Now, you can make an argument that Caleb should not throw the ball, that it's too risky of a throw on 2nd and 8, but Caleb's a big game hunter, and there was a lot of open space there. I think that DJ Moore did not expect Caleb Williams to make the throw, and for some reason, he loafed on that route, which is unacceptable given his stature within the league, within the team, and the time and score of the game. So unless there's an injury to DJ Moore that we do not know about at this point, which Ben Johnson did not reveal after the game, I think that play is pretty squarely on the shoulders of the veteran wide receiver.
And that is so surprising, isn't it? I mean, we saw DJ Moore last year, I guess, go through instances like this, but I thought this year was a different DJ Moore.
Listen, I think that DJ Moore has had more inconsistencies with the Bears than you would like. He had great moments late in the season. Obviously, we'll all remember the walk-off touchdown against the Packers. DJ Moore has been frustrated pretty clearly when he got that game ball a few weeks ago from Ben Johnson. He was about time. You know what I mean? He had been, it was, Burden clicked with him, with Caleb faster than it seemed like DJ did. Loveland eventually got there. Odunze last year, and Caleb, DJ Moore kind of felt like he just never was totally on the same page, which, given his talents, is frustrating. But now, given his age and his cap hit, I could realistically see DJ Moore being on another team next year.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was just a week ago, you and I were still gasping about Caleb's throw to Roma Dunze on 4th and, 8 against the Packers.
4th and 8, yeah.
What did you think of the 4th and 4 heave to Cole Kmet in the end zone with 27 seconds left?
A miracle. Caleb Williams is a magician. He is Houdini. He is the one. He is Iceman. He is whatever you want to call him. Backing up to the 40-yard line and throwing that ball 50 yards in the air, to Cole Kmet in that spot is just impossible. It's Josh Allen, it's Mahomes, but I don't even know if they make that play. And it's a 1 of 1 type of throw that, someone asked me today at work, do I wish that he wouldn't have made the throw and they would have just lost in normal fashion? And I immediately was like, no, because it's just, yes, it makes the loss a little bit more excruciating and it drags it out, but it is just a reminder of what the quarterback of the Chicago Bears can do that maybe no other human being on the face of planet Earth can do. And it's a really, really exciting thing for the next decade of football in Chicago.
That's for sure. Down 17-16, Ben Johnson said he thought of going for 2. You think he should have gone for the win?
Listen, in hindsight, it's an easy thing to say yes, but I thought it was a pretty obvious extra point call in the moment.
So did I.
To be I try to first guess all of this stuff as I'm watching, go for it on fourths, all that stuff. Loveland is out of the game with a concussion. Your defense has been playing great. You're at home. The crowd is obviously on your side. And you stopped the Rams in the opening drive of overtime to get the ball back. So I thought it was a pretty straightforward extra point call in that spot. If this was the game against the Niners, and it's 42-40, if this is a shootout, I think you can make the argument of going for two, but they had been struggling so much in short yardage. I thought it was a pretty obvious extra point spot for Ben Johnson. I had no problem with it.
Let me give you a big picture question about the game itself, because, the Bears had a lot of drop passes. Ben Johnson, you touched on it, ultra aggressive again, giving up a pair of field goals and going forward on fourth down early in the game. I wanted Caleb Williams to do more with the football, run more with the football than he did. Do you think the Bears deserve to still win this game?
My favorite television show ever is The Wire, and there's a character in this. There's a moment in the show where there has to be someone has to go. It's time for a character's arc to end, and someone who's sympathetic to the cause says he doesn't deserve it. And then Snoop goes, "Deserve ain't got nothing to do with it." Deserve doesn't matter. Like, it's, you play that game 10 times. I think the Bears win 5 of them, but this was one of the 5 that they lose. And so I do think they outplayed the Rams for a large portion of the game. You got your best defensive effort of the season. Let's also talk about it. You had a lot of turnover luck this year. And in the last 2 weeks, you got no turnover luck. That's 5 fumbles by opponents that you recovered none of them. Both of those strips on Stafford bounce back to the Rams. So, those types of things have a tendency to even out. So do I think they deserved to win? Maybe a little bit, but that's single elimination playoff football. That's just how it works.
That's right. In my opinion, best story out of this Magic season for the Bears, just watching the way the relationship grew between head coach and quarterback. And now I feel like it's going to continue to grow, because listening to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, I sense this respect that I didn't hear early on in the relationship. And it's respect that's been built over the last 5-6 months of working together. Agree?
Yeah, no question. I mean, Caleb has been pretty forthright about this. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't know if Coach liked me." And then he learned that was more just him and how Ben Johnson kind of operates and is a tough coach and those sort of things. And then you get to the end of the season and Caleb Williams is wearing Ben Johnson's high school jersey to the game and, choking back tears when he gives him a game ball at the end because of what he's meant to his development. I think Caleb, he followed Lincoln Riley, a great offensive college coach, to 2 different places, Oklahoma and USC. And then he got drafted and he was with Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy, and he saw what the other side of elite coaching can be. And he is grateful that, there's a lot of quarterbacks who are in the wilderness for a lot longer than Caleb Williams was. Caleb Williams was in the coaching wilderness for 1 year, and he found Ben Johnson. So I think Caleb is appreciative of the coach that he has, and Ben Johnson's clearly appreciative of the talent that he has in Caleb Williams.
I know you didn't hear it being in New York, but Ben Johnson told Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer on the radio postgame show that Caleb's going to be, and I'm going to quote him here, an incredible player. I get the feeling more incredible than even Johnson envisioned when taking the job. You agree?
Certainly possible. The thing that I liked most from Caleb, after the game, he was talking about, in the offseason, he has to work on his footwork and his accuracy, because he knows that he knows he can do the spectacular because of his natural God-given ability. But 3rd year in the NFL, 2nd year in a system, he doesn't need to learn a new offense. He can just master the finer points of it. He's clearly talented enough to hit the layup. He's not going to be a 58% completion percentage guy for his career. You and I talked about it during the year. I thought naming 70% as a goal before the year was silly and unnecessary. because I want Caleb to take shots down the field and not just be a check down guy. But Caleb Williams is going to take a leap in terms of consistency between this year and next year. And, the Bears it's going to be hard, hard to get back. Every opportunity is cherished. You won't have the same turnover luck next year. You won't have the same offensive line health next year. But there's a lot of reasons to believe that this is the beginning of something special and not the end.
All right, so then what's the next step? What do they need to do to reach the NFC Championship and more next year?
I thought that in this game, you saw kind of the idealized version of what your secondary could be. That was Brisker's arguably best game of his career. We'll see if he's back. Kyler Gordon looked healthy and was good. Jalen Johnson was good. The secondary was there, and I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. The front seven has serious problems. So I would imagine, multiple draft picks and veteran additions to the front seven defensively. It's kind of like priority one. It'll be interesting to see what they do at left tackle. But the biggest thing to me is very clearly just, what does Caleb do? How big of a leap are we talking? Because Patrick Mahomes won the MVP of the league in his second year in Andy Reid's system. Lamar Jackson did it too. Now, Caleb's third year in the league, but I'm talking about second year in the system. Caleb Williams legitimately can be the MVP of the league next year. And if he's the MVP of the league, you don't need to get as many takeaways and you don't need to have as much offensive line health if you have a true superstar quarterback.
All right, I want you to hear something because, listen, what the Bears went through this year really electrified the city. It unified fans man, I haven't seen since the Blackhawks Stanley Cup titles. Even more so, Cubs winning the World Series was so special because it was historic, because I know so many fans, White Sox fans on the South Side, who refused to celebrate the Cubs World Series title. I just didn't feel both sides of the city coming together quite like I felt during this playoff run, especially after the Packers win in the playoffs. I want you to listen to Caleb Williams today on what it's meant for him to play for the city of Chicago in the Bears.
That was part of the reason why I said I can do it here, to bring life, to bring joy, to bring excitement, to being a Chicago Bears fan, to be able to cheer for us. So I do take pride in it. It's really cool, honestly, to be able to have those small things like that. Just being able to have the city behind you, and you lose that game and you're walking out of the game and the fans stand up and cheer and roar. In a tough moment, it goes a long way.
Two-part question for you, Danny. Number one, I'm sure by now you've seen the video of the fans giving the standing ovation to the players and Caleb as they walked off the field last night. What did you think of that, number one? And number two, what impact did the Bears make on the national media and football fans, not only in Chicago, but around the country?
Listen, Chicago is the best sports city in the world. And to your point about, the Cubs, it's the only thing we all agree on. Some people are bigger Hawks fans than Bulls fans, or bigger Bulls fans than Hawks fans. And then there's obviously North Side, South Side, Cubs and White Sox. But it's the thing that unifies the city. Mike Ditka is thought of in some circles on the same level as Michael Jordan, and he had one title. And Jordan had 6, right? So the Bears are the biggest thing in Chicago. But I thought that it was just why it was such a successful season. And for me personally, and I think a lot of Bears fans feel the same way. So I'm born in '86. This is the most enjoyable Bears season of my life, the most fun Bears season of my life. That includes a year where they went to the Super Bowl. That includes a year where they went to the NFC Championship game. And the reason I can say that is because even in those really successful, it's okay, well, you had Rex Grossman, or you have Cutler and then Caleb Haney and that disaster of an NFC Championship game, but this felt like the 2015 Cubs, which is one of the most enjoyable baseball seasons of my life. This felt like year ahead of schedule, young team, the start of something. And it feels like the MVPs and the Super Bowls are almost inevitable. And it's ooh, I just watched the first movie in a 3 or 4 part series where they've already greenlit the sequels, and I just can't wait for the next one. Like, I'm already ready for training camp.
I love the way you look at it like that, but I'm with you. Because I think back to the 84 playoffs for that Super Bowl team back in 85 and the 2015 Cubs and what the Bulls had to go through. I'm going to go way back and how they had to get by Rodman and Lambert and those bad boys in Detroit. It's almost fitting, right?
Listen, there is no guarantee that you will get back. Like, next year, you might have a brutal injury, and then you might have some form of dysfunction, and you might have a bad contract or a bad run of draft picks. Dan Campbell said it after the Lions lost in the NFC Championship game a couple of years ago. You got to let this hurt because there's no guarantee that you'll ever be back, and they haven't been back yet, right? So we only remember the 2015 Cubs as fondly as we do because of 2016. If the 2016 Cubs would have won 84 games, and that would have been the high watermark of the Theo Epstein, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Joe Madden Chicago Cubs, we would talk about that as a disappointing peak. But because they won it in 2016, we can kind of retroactively lump in 2015 and talk about it as like a 350 game stretch of baseball. And so the hope is that's what happens with the Bears. But listen, if you have your coach and quarterback, you should be competitive more years and more often than not. And the Bears have a 39-year-old head coach and a 23-year-old quarterback who are both geniuses on the offensive side of the ball who love each other. Like, there is no reason why this shouldn't be the most successful decade of Bears football ever.
All right, then let me put you on the spot. To wrap this conversation up, you had the Parkins playoff meter, the Parkins Super Bowl meter. What about the Parkins Bears Back-O-Meter? Where is it?
Oh, I mean, they're 100% back. We are back. They are 100% back. And I thought you were going to ask, like, will they win a Super Bowl with Caleb Williams? Like, I would say yes. Like, will Caleb Williams win an MVP? Like, I would say yes. Like, the amount of enthusiasm and excitement there should be for the future, I think, is at 99 out of 100. But that doesn't mean that the disappointment today isn't at like 99 out of 100, because that was a painful loss that they easily could have won. But I'm very bullish on their future. Danny, as always, thank you for the time. Personally, I appreciate your support on CST all season long, and I hope we can continue to talk to you. We got a lot of sports coming up still. We got baseball, spring training right around the corner. I got to be honest with you. I am not 100% mentally ready for, the Alex Bregman impact on the Cubs, but I'm excited about it. So, of course, hey, Lou, if you want me, I'm here for you, buddy.